Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my new apartment. So I'm just filming this way just today just to see how it is, like a real YouTuber with the white background. But I will probably move to a few locations around and see which is the best for filming, because there's quite a lot of light in this apartment, so it's nice to take advantage of that. And when I do my first live here next week, I will show you guys around a little bit. It's not an enormous apartment, but it's really nice, and Miss G and I love living here so far. So today, to get right into what we are doing, I've been wanting to do this video for a while, and it is the 10 best and the 10 worst L-word characters. One other tiny thing just to mention before is I didn't want the best characters to just be like a list of all the cast members, like the main cast members. So no, I didn't forget anyone. It's just more of not only my personal opinion, but also what the writers did. Like Helena, who she's a different character every season. You can't possibly say, oh, Helena's, one of the best characters, because although season 5 and season 6 Helena was awesome, season 2 and then season 3 it was just kind of all over the show. So that also is a factor as well, and also bleeding into what the actresses did and like fan reception, what everybody thinks, how their story ended, if they're in Gen Q, all these types of things. And the other thing to mention is this is just the OG characters from the original series. It gets too messy if I try and bring in Gen Q, because obviously Bette, Alice and Shane would have like a huge head start, and we've only had one season, 8 episodes. We don't know all the characters super well, and there's a lot of new characters in Gen Q. So I probably will do a video next week or within the next few weeks that's the best and worst characters from season 1 of Gen Q, just to kind of have a little look at it as well. And I'm sure that will change over the course of Gen Q. So let's get right into our list, and I'm gonna start doing 10 to 1. So starting out with the best characters. And as I was saying, I didn't want it to just be like a list of all the main characters, because that would just be so boring. But characters did have to appear in at least a handful of episodes to be featured on the list. Like, although I really like the character of Nadia, she was only in a few episodes, so it's not really fair to put them in. So starting out with the best characters, and coming in at number 10 is Tina. And Tina may be way higher up on some people's list. The reason that she's only number 10 for me is because although I do like Bette and Tina, I think that Tina as a character was severely neglected. She got no backstory whatsoever, where everyone else, most people, we met their parents, we knew about their life before, and Tina just was this extension of Bette when the show started, and kind of continued, even though, Laura Holloman was a main character and was second in the credits. Season 5 and season 6, she started to be able to stand on her own 2 feet a bit, and we got to know her and her work environment, which was really nice. And we did get a lot of relationship stuff with Bette and Tina in season 5, and then in season 6, although season 6 was an absolute mess, they did kind of just leave Bette and Tina to be happy, which was nice because we never really got that on the show. But season 5, I think, is totally the best season for Tina, and that is down to she actually got something to do. So number 10, Tina, and coming in at number 9 is a minor character, but who appears in several seasons and in lots of episodes, and that is Joyce Wishnia. I just think that anytime she was on screen, she always made me laugh. She was just kind of like a silly caricature, but I loved when they had her paired up with Phyllis, and things like in season 6 when she's like texting about Valentina and stuff. It's just great, and I love the way Jane Lynch played her. So one of my favorite characters that I like to see on the screen for sure. Coming in at number 8 is someone that a lot of people, you either love this person or you hate them, and although they were a bit of a caricature, number 8 is Dawn Denbo from season 5. She was a bit of the cartoon villain, and maybe it's because season 5 is like my favorite season, and I think there was so much of like that driven by Shebar and Dawn Denbo, and you know, we got such gems like the mafia scene, and when they went to the opening of Shebar, we got the Valentina kiss, like all that stuff. So I really just loved Dawn Denbo and Elizabeth Keener, and I had a friend in real life who really reminds me of her, so I had to put her in there. Number 8, Dawn Denbo. Number 7 is the only man on the series that I think was written well and had like good redeeming qualities, and that was James. And he has such loyalty to Bette and follows her through like job to job to job, and especially in the first season we got to see him like a little bit more when she was at the CAC, and he just always had Bette's back, and I loved anytime James was on screen. I would have loved to have gotten a little bit more about James, and I would thoroughly enjoy it if he turned up in Generation Q, but Preston Cook, who plays James, works a bit more behind the camera now, and he's also married to Julia Stiles, which I only found that out like a year ago, and I still can't get over it. But James was definitely a great character for the show, and I'd love to see him back in Gen Q. Number 6 on the list is Tasha, and the one thing that like I really wanted to put Tasha on the list for is because I feel as though we got to know her character a lot better than most characters who are introduced in a later season. Like we normally get very surfacey level stuff, but although we didn't get all the answers that we wanted, like we knew she was in the army, and they did have that whole don't ask, don't tell storyline, which was at the time like very, very controversial. And I think that it's good now, people watching the show, like younger people who've come across Gen Q, going back and watching it and realizing that everything just wasn't the way it is now. So I also think Tasha was a great addition to the group. I really like Rose Rollins, and although the thruple Jamie thing, you know, in season 6 was a bit random, and we still don't know what happened with Tasha and Alice, I just really enjoyed Tasha as a character, and I know that she's a pretty popular character within the fandom too. Number 5 on the list is Dana, and the main reason that I've put Dana in is because she is a character that, even though she was only in 3 seasons, we got to know her character really, really well, and they actually gave Dana like a pretty decent backstory for the L Word. And you know, we met her family, her brother, she had the whole coming out thing, like she was a tennis pro. I really, really liked all that kind of information that we got about her and how it tied into everything. And we even knew that like she was introduced to the group through like Alice a little bit, and I just loved how she was like this little like newbie coming out of the closet, and they all were just so sweet to her, and she was a real like central person of the group. And I really did like Alice and Dana together. I really hated the thing with Laura and Dana and Alice splitting up and like Alice spinning out a bit, but I did really like them as a couple, and I wish that because they're not really on together for that long on screen, so I really wish we would have got more of that. And of course, in Gen Q, it's so cute that they call the bar Dana's. So Dana would have been a great character to have stick around. And I know Eileen Chaikin says that is one of her biggest regrets, is killing Dana off. So definitely number 5, Dana. Number 4, although she is not a main cast member, she's in a lot of seasons and she just brings so much power to the screen, and that is Peggy Peabody. And yes, although in later seasons it's more to do with Helena, but I really liked when you had this strong character come in and she was able to like challenge Bette, and she also treated Bette, you know, similar to a daughter. And Helena saying she was always jealous of like Bette's relationship with Peggy, and I really enjoyed like their early interaction with the CAC and all that stuff. And Peggy was just always such a force when she was on the show. And then from the side of, I really loved that Holland Taylor played her. She's an awesome actress. And when she was playing Peggy Peabody, she wasn't out, you know, like it was kind of like a closed secret. So really awesome. And I so wish we would get her back in Generation Q to see what's going on. Maybe we will now that Helena's coming back. Number 3, I know some people won't like that I've put her up this high, but number 3 is Jenny. And the main reason, of course, has to be the acting. Like Mia Kirshner, yes, some of the material is questionable, especially in season 6, but Mia Kirshner, along with Jennifer Beals, was absolutely robbed of an Emmy. She was amazing at playing Jenny, and the storylines were so complicated and crazy. And the first season with like Tim and the falling in love with Marina, Mia just knocks it out of the park from day one. And no matter what material she got, she just spun it into gold as much as she could. Looking back, some of the scenes like the Monet one with Leisha Haley, and there's certain ones where you feel like there's a lot of improvisation, and Jenny as a character obviously is so complicated and there's so much backstory and present day story and everything that Jenny just had to be in the top 3. So absolutely because of Mia Kirshner. So number 2 is my second favorite character also, but I think that's because she's been on the screen since day one. She is one of the central people of the group and in Generation Q, and that is Alice. And a big part of Alice being such a great character is of course due to Leisha Haley. I've said before, I always think that she has this kind of authenticity about her, and I just love Alice. Her humor, the way she dresses, everything about Alice is just perfect. And she has, you know, never a dull moment for Alice. There's multiple thruples, and the way she's gone from like, you know, being a writer for like small articles all the way up to having her own talk show. She's always such a good friend, and she's close with pretty much everybody. So Alice is just such a huge central part of the show for me. I absolutely love her, and she's hilarious too. So number 2 had to be Alice. So I'm sure there's absolutely no surprise here who I'm going to say is my number 1 character, and that of course is the one and only Bette Porter. Bette is just the best character to me, hands down. She is the central of the group. She is the lead. She is the most powerful woman on the show, and I just love Bette. Like everything about her. Yes, sometimes she is a mess, and I also am a Bette apologist, so sue me, but there's so much of Bette that we see through even just, you know, her sister is another main character and her dad is on the show, but then there's also stuff that we don't really know. Like we never really found out too much about her mom, but then, you know, we know her backstory with like Yale and Kelly Wentworth and how she was a bit of a womanizer before she met Tina. Side note, there's a video montage on YouTube, and it is my favorite like L Word montage video, and it's like all set to womanize her, and it's Bette. It's, oh my god, it's brilliant. But that whole thing with Tina, and we got to see them meeting in the flashbacky one, and it's just brilliant. And Bette is so complicated as well. Like, she's not the typical main that, you know, everything is perfect and she just has a few little quirks. Like, she is a severely complicated and damaged person who is extremely smart and trying to find her happiness and her way in the world. And we see them go through the struggles of like breaking up all the time and trying to start a family, and eventually now obviously we see Bette like divorced, running for mayor, and all these other things that you just think how much we've seen of this character on screen. It's awesome. And not only that, it's Jennifer Beals. Like, do I need to say any more? She is an amazing actress, and it is criminal that she hasn't even been nominated for an Emmy. It's honestly outrageous, and there's very few people who could have played that character and played them with so much authenticity that I can't really think of anyone else. So Jennifer Beals, Bette Porter, the absolute, to me, best character on the L Word. So let me know if there's someone you prefer in the best character #1 spot, and let's quickly take a dive on the other side of the coin to the worst characters on the L Word. And there was a lot to choose from. Let me tell you, there's a lot. I had way more characters written out for the worst ones than for the best. So coming in at number 10 is Nikki Stevens. I know she was supposed to be based on Lindsay Lohan or something like that, but she is just an awful character, like so vapid. We don't know anything about where she's always with this little like group of other clones of herself, and I especially don't know why they had her like in the last episode hiding in the bush, and just I don't think she brought anything to the role. Like, she was given so much screen time in season 5, when really if we just knew, oh, she's playing the Jenny character in Less Girls, like that would have been kind of it. And also we got that god-awful oil wrestling episode, which, what a waste of time. Number 9 is kind of a comboed grouping of people, and that is basically everyone that worked with, apart from the one nice girl, like all those people that worked at Max's computer company in tech mode or whatever it was called. All those douchebags and homophobes and the boss and all of them. And I just always think about Daniela C was working on this, you know, LGBTQ show, and all the other cast are around each other, and poor Daniela C is just around like douches. So all of them, homophobic, transphobic douchebags, under number 9. Number 8, I know there's some people who really like this character, but I just do not. That is Dylan. I could not get behind the character, the acting, why they brought her back. I will never know. And I honestly, because I just obviously rewatched season 6 for my retro reviews, and the sex scenes with Helena, I have never fast forwarded the L Word before, and I had to. They were so boring, so awful, so terrible. So I just don't know what they were thinking about bringing Dylan back. Like, I just do not like the character at all. The acting is, yeah. Number 7 is Shane's dad, and that is just, again, like, what were they trying to achieve here? I know that they brought Shay on, but it was like, are they trying to show that Shane can't have any depth because she's just like her dad because it's genetic? Which I mean, like, I didn't put Shane on my top 10 characters because she's just not someone I've ever connected with, and her dad just showing up and being a douche. Like, I don't know what that was trying to achieve, so just never really enjoyed his character. Number 6 is Tina's boss, Aaron, and I mean, do I need to explain more than what Bette says, the impotent worm? Because he is just an idiot, a douche, and he's always screaming. He doesn't even know what Tina's job is. He treats her like shit. So yeah, no way. Awful character. Number 5, I know this will be like an odd choice for some, but Marina. She was so odd in the beginning, where she like goes after Jenny, and then the Francesca thing, and then we all know about what actually happened on set with Karina Lombard, which they kind of got their own back when they called the character in Les Girls literally Karina. And yeah, she had an outburst on Instagram also, and it was like she called the L word the worst experience she'd ever had, and she was on it for a season, and then she went back twice, and then one day she just decides to like go ham on Instagram. I still would love to know the full details, because she literally said the L word is like the worst thing I've ever done, and freaking tagged Jennifer Beals and Eileen Chaikin, because she wanted Tina and Marina to get together when Bette and Tina split up in season 1, and then there was like some other, she wanted Marina more to move into like a main character role like Jenny and Bette. So yeah, it just did not go well for her, and maybe I'm pushing the actress into that a bit too much, but do I need to say more than it's Marina? So yeah, just never a character that I really enjoyed. Now the top 4 are pretty interchangeable. I moved them around several times, but number 4 is in number 4 because he is in the least amount of episodes and is like the main person in the least amount of episodes, and that is Gomi, Mark's creep friend. Just a creep. Like, I do not think I need to say any more than Gomi, because everyone was there, everyone's seen it. Creep. Number 3 is Tim, and although in the beginning, you know, I felt bad, I don't want to say bad, oh well, you know, whatever, he wasn't as bad in the beginning, but when you watch the show back, one, like the first sex scenes that we get had to be heterosexual, and it was still when, you know, the L word, they didn't know that they were going to be Showtime's most successful show, so there was a lot of this still, like, you know, we got a lot of Jenny and Tim, which I, for one, like, this is not what I signed up for, so obviously I'm putting a bit of that in the character, but then also, like, he is an effing Rick, so that, do I need to say more? Really? Number 1 and 2, I still go back and forth and think it could be either one. It really could. So in no particular order, number 2 is Henry, and just everything about this character sucked so bad. Like, why was he there? What did Tina see in him? I'm also extending this to when they have that straight gay mixer and all his douchebag friends. There's a lot of douchebag friends on this show. And his biggest crime being the toenail. Why? Why? And I mean, y'all were there. You know what we were dealing with this man. And yeah, thankfully he's lost to time now, so truly awful. Truly awful. So my number one most disliked character, probably not a surprise. Again, this is pretty interchangeable with Henry. Mark. And he was another creep with douchebag friends, and he literally was spying, recording, perving, privacy invading, like just gross, gross, gross. Seriously, something wrong with this guy. And he just, even the fact he was on the show and and a main cast member for an entire season. Like, think about all the time that was spent on him and that douche Gomi. Like, we could have had that time doing literally anything else with any of the other characters, like going into people's backstories, going into how the group met, like anything at all, rather than that. It was such a waste of time, energy, blah. And I again think that in the beginning seasons they had this, like, I don't know, like whether it was because in the early seasons they still, well, they had male writers in the writing room and it was not their choice to have that. It was more like forced on them. So maybe it was kind of to placate those guys. I'm not too sure. But, you know, Mark is played by Eric Lively, Blake Lively's brother. And he, I mean, I'm not very good at judging guys' looks, but like he's a good looking guy, I think. And Tim is too, I don't know, maybe. So between the two of them in season 1 and 2, I think they were still trying to like have that male figure in the show that was there to, one, get some like heterosexual male audience, when maybe that's not the case, but there was still male writers in the writing room, and I'd imagine that they were the ones writing Mark and Tim. And then in the first season especially, like they didn't know that the show was going to be so successful, so they still had to try and like cater to more mainstream audiences. So thankfully after the second season there wasn't as much as that. Like we still had Henrys and Angus's and things, but it was more, they made sense in the way of the show. Like Angus was with Kit, that made sense, and he wasn't quite as, well, he, you know, in the end the way he treated Kit, yeah, he ended up being a douche too, but in the beginning he was a functioning character, I guess. So that is my personal top 10 and worst top 10 for the best and the worst characters on the L Word, the OG show. So I will probably be doing a Generation Q one very soon, and we've got quite a big cast there, so it's definitely going to be interesting which ones make it in there. Maybe because it's Gen Q and like they only have one season, I'll do like a top 5, and then in a few seasons I can do a bigger one then and have, you know, top 10s. So make sure to let me know your top 10 and worst top 10 down in the comment section. Did I miss out your favorite characters, or would you rearrange the numbers a little bit? And let me know of any of your other thoughts down in the comment section. Don't forget that at the moment I am doing Generation Q reviews because I finished the OG L Word. And if you watch any of my L Word retro reviews or Generation Q reviews, if you comment, subscribe and like, you could be entered into win a piece of merch from my channel, and the link to my store is in the description box down below if you want to check those out and get yourself a piece of L Word merch, or just support the channel with purchasing a piece of merch from there too. Also, don't forget that I go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific except for this week. I am going live on the Saturday, the 24th instead, but every other week it's Friday like usual. And I have had a lot of people asking me about season 2 starting, and filming is wrapping next month. So we should get a trailer next month. And the second that we do, I will be shouting it from the rooftops. So there will be no, animosity about not knowing when it comes out. So definitely, if you're subscribed to my channel and put the bell on, because then at least when I upload a video, you'll see the notification. And then if you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. And then if it is, saying about a trailer or a release date, then you'll see it the second that I post it. Or if you don't want to subscribe or whatever on YouTube, you can go and follow me on Instagram. And when things happen, I usually do a post really quickly because I want to be the first to put them info out. And then I'll do a video after I've done the post. So that's also a good way to follow me is on Instagram. And I do also have a Ash Silver account on Facebook, and normally post the same from Instagram and Facebook. So following me over there is a good way to stay up to date on everything as well. And usually in my lives, I go over everything that's come out for that week. And people this week, people were asking what ADR is. So I'll explain little things like that in the live. And, you can ask me anything you want in the live. So that is a good place to come and get questions asked and answered as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.